Hi Flosstube, welcome back to my channel. I'm Matt, MBC Stitcher, and this is Augie, who is, well, doing something. But today is the last day of February, February 28th, Sunday, 2021, and this is episode number 21, oddly enough. And this is a channel about cross stitch, and or this is an episode about cross stitch. I also do some book stuff. There may be a little bit of that at the end. And yeah, so, okay, it's been a little bit. The last time I did one was in January, so it's been at least 4 weeks, and it's been kind of a crazy time. But I've got quite a bit of progress on things. I have some plans for starting tomorrow, and you know, what's going on for the month of April, or sorry, March, I'm getting ahead of myself. And yeah, so let's kind of just get on into it. First of all, let's do finishes. And I have a part finish. So I am doing Dark Queen of the Sea, and this is on the 32 count Jobelan Bewitched, which is the called for color from, or colorway from Leslie Under the Sea Fabrics. It's amazing to stitch on. I love this. And this month we did, February, we did the ink swirl, and then you could either do magic like me, or there's a skull, or lots of people did all sorts of things. So I got this done. It was actually pretty quick this month. To me it seemed like it was more counting than actually cross stitching, because it was, you know, the ink swirl is kind of spaced out over the course of the pattern, and I did do it in Etoile, the 310 Etoile, and then the dark navy 823 Etoile, and then I used the Petite Treasure braid for the magic, and that's pretty much where we're at on that one. Okie dokie. As far as other finishes, I did get a letter finished. I think I didn't have this done. Leviathan, which L for Leviathan. This is my Pain-Free Crafts Mythical Creature Sal. This is their 2020 Sal, and they released a different letter creature every 2 weeks throughout the year. I have gotten a start on M, Mermaid, right here, but I did finish up Leviathan and made a little more progress on the border. And yeah, this is part of my Whip Go goals for this year, and I've adjusted my goals because it seemed like what I wanted to do was maybe a little too lofty, and if I did it, then I wouldn't have a chance to work on other things like I wanted to, and as things come up, you know, you want to work on, I wanted to give myself a little more flexibility. So I still want to do this. I did eliminate some other projects from my WhipGo board, and then I changed some of the amounts of what I wanted to do down. So hopefully I can actually get back to this and continue on this, because now I'm a little behind. For January I was supposed to do L and M, and then February I was supposed to do 3. I've changed that down to 2, so that would be N and O, but M is an intense one. There's a lot of stitching to it. There's not as many colors as H, but a lot of people say M is difficult. So I have been making progress on it, and I do enjoy it. It's just there's a lot of fractionals and a lot of things. So I am working on this, but I have mostly spent most of the month on my other WhipGo project, which is Forests of Sumatra. So I will talk about that one next. This is on 32 count Jobelan in just white. With all the different colors, I don't think it really needs anything else. Or it'd be really hard to do something that didn't have a problem with one of the letters. So there's that one. Okay. So let's talk about forests. Okay, so my other WhipGo project for the month is Forests of Sumatra. and this is by Ink Circles. You can see, sorry about the glare, I think that's pretty good. But it's a gorgeous pattern. I am doing it in the called for color. I did change the fabric, but the color is Gloriana Silk in Sumatra, which was made specifically for this. It is very similar to another colorway. I think it's Deep Sea. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's a dark, like a dark teal to a green, and it's more teal than green, but it is like, it's a dark, like a blue spruce kind of color. And I love it. It's just, I think it's a gorgeous color in general. But here is, okay, well, that doesn't actually show well. Okay, let me take that off because I have, so my goal was to do 3 pages. And if you're following me on Instagram, you would see that I've definitely done quite a bit. I'm close to that. This is the bottom. So what I'm doing the middle 3 pages, but I'm not like actually stopping at the page line. I'm going a little bit over on some and less on others because I don't really want to split up a motif. And so I've made it all the way down to the bottom, done this, and then now I'm up to the top and I'm just filling in across here. So that is where we're at. And this is on a 36 count linen, which is not something I stitch on a lot of, but having worked on this a lot this month, I really enjoyed it. This is Toast by Be Stitch Me. It's the fabric, and which is a gorgeous color. I really like it I like it in all its forms, but it's one of those where in the even weave it's definitely a lot lighter. So the linen or the Aida really helps bring out the gorgeous color to it. And the more I stitched on this, the more I'm like, I could definitely do that in others. I do like the 36 count because it's small. I'm doing 2 strands though because I like a full look, and I just like the way that these little blocks are on it, and it's gorgeous. So that's how far I am on that one. And okay, buddy, you're gonna need to go because I keep trying to go around you. Yeah, so I didn't adjust the goal on that one. It's still 3 pages. I'm gonna finish it. I don't know that I'll get it done today, but it's still one that I'm going to be working on. It's also one that you can use. I'm gonna add the hashtag Stitch Asia to it, which is the hashtag from Abby Bella Stitch. Yeah, about voicing and expanding Asian voices in our community. You know, there's been a rise of violence and lots of uncalled for activity towards the Asian community in the United States in the last year, especially in the last few months, and it's just something that it should be addressed. And if you want to follow her, she has a lot more detailed information. But I've got a couple things. You can do things that are Asian themed, which this is, Sumatra is an island in Southeast Asia, or you can do something by an Asian designer, and all of that and then use the hashtag Stitch Asia. And it is something that's important, and I want to contribute to that, so I'm going to do that. The other hashtag that I'm using with this is my hashtag twinning Sal with Christian of Married with Stitches, and Scruffy Knitter on Instagram. He and I are both working on this. We have a couple projects that we both are working on, and where he finished the last time he worked on it, he's coming from the corner up here and going this way, and he stopped right where I'm going to stop with mine. There's a motif up here that I'm going to do, and then, or maybe over here, but it's like right where, it's the edge essentially of where like like mine begins where his has ended so far. But yeah, I am working on that, and we've got a couple others that we're doing that we happen to both be working on. So go check his out if you want to see another part of the beautiful piece there. Okie dokie. Well, let's see. I've got a few others that I just did a little bit of stuff on, and I want to show those. Let's start here with Bellatrix. This is a new start that I had. I'm not really kind of doing these in groups, but this is Bellatrix from Bella Filipina. I started her at the end of January with Julie, Kansas City Girl, and the Colorado World, Kate, Stitchy Aardvark, and I started it together on Virtual Stitchers on a Friday night. And spent a little bit of time that weekend on her and got part of her dress done. So that's a good chunk there. I am going to try and work on her more this month because Bella Filipina is an Asian designer, and that would be another part to do it on. This is on 32 count Joblin from Be Stitch Me in Badlands. I think, Baron, which was a color from the Winter Solstice box. It's a nice, like, light purple, almost gray color to it, so I thought it was pretty. And I'm doing that. Okay, so this is also, I'll show off this bag. So I purchased a couple fancy project bags for the first time. Both of them are from Whip It Up. She's on Instagram, and they are just really great. She has different kinds. These are the ones that have the handle. I wasn't really going for the handle, but the type of fabric, the pattern, is what I wanted. So these are big enough that you can fit a 11 by 11 Q-snap in them. She also has a size that's bigger that will fit an 11 by 17. So if that's something that you're doing and you want to have that, you can. And so this has this Red Riding Hood fabric in it, a vinyl front, and then the back is this, or the outside fabric is this, navy forest scene, winter forest. So, but the project I have in it is Blueberry by Singy Stitch. This is what she will look like in black and white. And then this is how far I am in her dress. Mostly been what I've worked on. I've kind of just filled in more as I'm making my way up. And this is on 32 count Joblin by Witchelt in the colorway African Daisy. And yeah, it's a beautiful piece. I love the way her dress looks in these colors. It's just 4 different blues, but it's really beautiful. So I'm doing that one. This is on my Whip Go board. It's not one that's been called, but I like it, and it's one that I can work on without having to really focus a lot. If I need to do something where I can just want to fill in, I can work on this dress. So I like that. I also can work on the border on my Fantasy Creature Sal if I need to do that as well. Okay, I'll show the other bag. I got a second one from her, which is this nice, you can see the fabric, and then it has these books on there, and I really like it. I'm keeping Dark Queen of the Sea in this one, but since she's on the board, I don't have her on the Q-snap, but I still have the Q-snap in there because I don't want to switch it over to something else, because I will start to work on this probably tomorrow when the new part comes out. So that's that one. And then I will show this as well. This is Stitchy Kindness from Robert's Palace of Stitches. He made this for me and sent it to me. And it's a beautiful project bag with this owl pattern. I don't know that it's coming out, but the eyes are really yellow. They really pop in person, but it's black and white besides that. Not all the eyes are yellow, but a lot of them. And it's really great. I love owls, and Robert told me that he had been looking for some fabric that was not just cutesy, but like different, and so he got that. The project that's in here have not started yet, but it's something that I will be doing, I think, and it's something that he and I are both working on with somebody else. So it's kind of a, you know, special thing. So yeah, and there's a little mini notions bag that goes with it that he sent me in the same fabric, and it's in there. So it's really gorgeous. I love it, and really happy to do something that we're both working on in there. Okay, and then I have another new start. This, I started her last weekend kind of with, well, Julie was working on another one of these, but this is a kit from Lenart, or Lenart. This is what she's gonna look like. So the names are just kind of, this is from their culture collection, and this just is African Lady. And there's, I think, a couple other different ones that they have. There's several other, I have a different kit of this as well that's an Asian lady that is beautiful, but I saw this one and really liked it. It is, so it comes all together. The fabric is 14 count black Aida, which, you know, we all know how that is, but it's been pretty good so far. I've only got a little start, and that's how far I've gotten. This is part of her neck, and then part of her earring. Yeah, so you can see this is like right in there. So, so it uses the fabric as part of the like shadow and everything. So I think it'll be a really pretty piece. Now I did switch out the gold thread that came with it is I think the DMC Light Effects, which is not the easiest thing to work on or work with, but I bought some gold Diamant DMC thread at Michael's a little bit ago. I don't know if I showed it, and so I put that in here, and I'm using that instead. So I did one length and did that. It was really pretty easy to work with. I enjoyed it. I did, like at the end, I was about to finish it, like a stitch or two from when I was going to finish, and I got, it kind of broke on me, so I think I need to do just a little bit smaller of a, length. Which is probably, I mean, which you, I think, normally do with metallics anyway. I just went a little long that first one. So, but yeah, it was really easy to work with. I enjoyed it, and I'll definitely keep that up. I only did a little stitching on it because I had so much of I was really focused on the forest and trying to get that as far along as I could. Now, another one, this is the last one I have progress on, is I restarted my Once Upon a Fairy Tale by Amy Stewart, and you will see just the tiny little start down there. It's just a couple hundred stitches, but I really enjoyed this one, and now I'm doing it on 28 count instead of the 25 count, and I'm doing 2/1 in a 10th stitch or half stitch instead of a full cross. Somebody sent me a message about 10th stitch, and so there technically you can find tutorials on YouTube about how to do a 10th stitch, and those are great, but kind of the reason it's a half stitch, but the way you make your thread, or the way you make it on the back, you are going from furthest point to the other. If you're making two stitches right next to each other, instead of like making a line up and down, you're making a line across, which is even longer than, you know, the front stitch that you're doing. And I think part of that is to make it so it looks a little fuller, so if you see through the fabric that you know, there's color back there and it doesn't make it as noticeable. That works when you've got a lot that you're doing, but in a lot of these heaven and earth designs, if you've done them, it's like a stitch and then, 5 later, another stitch. And so I just make a half stitch. I call it tent stitch, but I'm not doing it in a particular way that's different than what I normally just do a half stitch, and I'm not really having a problem because it's on 28 count and I'm using 2 threads, so it's pretty full. But that's where I'm at, and I really enjoy this. This is also one of my Whip Go pieces. It hasn't been called yet, but I'm trying to get more on my Heaven and Earth designs this year and kind of push those forward. So, okay, we've got a little bit of plans, and for Whip Go, I don't remember what numbers. You'll have to go check in the group if you're a member of Whip Go to see what got called this month. But I had 2 more projects that got called. The first of them is, this is Mirabilia's Deco Spirits, and the one I'm doing these 4 panels separately, and the one I'm doing is Air, which is this one down here. That's the first one that I started on, and this is what the goal was, is to work on this and to get it, actually it's to finish Air, which is quite a bit, but I'm kind of I think I'm at least halfway, maybe not, but I've reached the corner down here, and I think I've reached the top at the top there. So I've got quite a bit to do. It's kind of hard to see because this is white on white, and I haven't done a lot of the other colors yet around it, but I am getting to work on this. This is on 32 count white Lugana, and it's in the called for DMC. I'm using black étoile on it instead of regular black, and then I'm using Petite Treasure Braid instead of the Krynic down here. But it's a really nice pattern. There are no beads. It does have some metallic, and it is kind of full coverage on these pieces, but that's about the extent of it. This is not the top. There's a few more stitches above it, but yeah, so it's a bit, and so I think March is going to be kind of full, but I have adjusted several other projects that maybe I will have more time to catch up in the future. But yeah, so that's the first project that I have, and then I also have another Ink Circles, and it's another one with Christian. He and I, although he may be done now, he said he was working on this and was going to finish it yesterday, so he may be done with his. But this is Ink Circles, Elemental Dragons, Earth, and this was a series Tracy put out last year. Started with Earth, there's Water, Air, and Fire, and I am doing this on a piece of 40 count for doll, which is an even weave, and it's in the Earth colorway from Be Stitch Me, and I'm doing it with 1 strand of floss, and this is Weeks Dye Works Foliage, and 1/2 on this 40 count. So I've got at least a quarter done. I've got the center and one of the things up here. So this is gonna get some more work. It's not at the halfway mark yet either. So, but this is not a huge piece. It's not going to be all that big. So I think it'll be nice to get some work on this and some progress on it, and move it along. So Christian was a lot further on his, so he probably is done. I think he just had a couple dragons left, or parts of dragons to finish yesterday. So that's that one. Those are my 2 plans, and then of course Dark Queen, that piece. The other thing that I did on my Whip Go goals is I added, since I don't have the Dark Queen on my board in any spots, but it is one that I'm trying to keep up with every month, I added a rule, or we'll call it a rule, that at the end, for each Dark Queen part that I finish, well, actually for every 2, I can sub in to a spot on the board and replace it so that I can, still get a bingo or a whip go at the end of the year. But if I don't use them, if I finish up all my goals and then still have those as well, then I'm counting it as more prizes. Now, these are just for me to reward myself, but I don't know, I just figured it would be something a little different, a little extra that I could do and put it in there. And then, yeah, so I finished 2, January and February, and then we'll see what March is going to be. February is not that much, January was quite a bit, but it didn't take that long, and then we'll see what March is going to be. I don't know, there's going to be quite a bit. I think maybe we'll be working down towards her legs, or tentacles or whatever, in the bottom, but we'll see. Okay, I do have some haul because it's been a while and I have gotten a couple things. Some of my monthly groups have received stuff, and then I bought a few things from some places. So first of all, this came in yesterday. This is the February Fabric of the Month from Fortnite Fabrics, and this is the Duos is the club that I'm in of theirs, and this is Rick and Morty. So it's purple with a little green undertone to it. It's really pretty, and this is on 32 count Lugana. And yeah, so I have no idea what I'm gonna do with it, but I'm sure I know that there are like a Nora or something that I could put on there that would be great. So I ordered some stuff from on Etsy. So this is Fad Needlework, which is Faraway Designs, and they are in Olive Branch, Mississippi, which is south of Memphis, I think. And I was looking for some dinky dyes, silks that were out at a few places, and I found them on Etsy, and they had some, so I went ahead and did it. Ordered from them and got a pattern as well. I don't know if I'm going to use it for what I thought it was, because I didn't, you don't see it in person. This is actually the color that I was looking for, and this is Pilbara number 140 from Dinky Dyes. It's a red, kind of dark to it. And then I also got, so I got a few skeins of that one, and then I got 2 other ones. So they have a thing, if you get to a certain amount you get free shipping, then what do? We get free shipping. This is turquoise, which is it's a really pretty color, and then this is blue iris, so that's also a nice pretty color. I'm just get a few little things. I had bought the silk to maybe use on the Ingleside Imaginarium Sal, which I have purchased. I haven't started it yet because I'm not sure if I want to change the color, and I'm not sure on my fabric, and so I want to wait. This month, starting tomorrow, we should get an idea of because February was just the frame and the outside, and I don't, from her description, I really want to see what it's going to look like with the first actual piece of it, so I can get a better idea of what I want to do with fabric and colors and all that stuff. It's not one that I'm going to be doing a whole lot as it comes out, because I've got other things that I'm focusing on, but it is one that I'm interested in, and I do love it. It's a Keramos Bestiary is the name of it, and it's Keramos is a type of Greek pottery from Corinth, ancient Greece, and so it's like the black within the like terracotta relief in it. I don't know if that's right, but it's really pretty, and I want to see how it works on there. But I also did get a pattern. She had a few different ones, and this is Miss Beadle from Nora Corbett, and I've seen her around and liked her, so I picked her up. I hadn't talked about it because it's in here. So I also did get a thing of the silver diamant DMC. It's a newer metallic thread from DMC. It comes on a spool, a single strand on the spool. The gold is pretty easy to work with, so I just picked up a couple to see how they work, and the gold one has been working so far. I do have several Threadworks that I got. I've gotten both of my nest eggs since the last time I did a video, my February and then my January and my February. So I don't have the slips of paper in here, so I'm just gonna call out the colors. Tin 582, it's a nice bright green. Tin 241, nice dark purple. 11051, nice yellow gold. 11421, just a nice pink white color, light rose to 1043, nice brown. 1150, beautiful pink and purple variegation. 1052, a nice dark gray variegated. 10382, which is a nice, beautiful dark purple. It's brighter than that, what's coming up on the screen. And then 1118, which is a nice sandy color. This is 1120. It's a nice gray to white kind of variegation, dark gray or onyx. 11291, a bright light purple variegated. This is 1053, green and purple variegation, beautiful. 1032, another light tan cream color. 10342, a beautiful brown and auburn variegation. 1041, which is a taupey variegation. Yeah. 1043. I think I may have had that. Yeah, I've got two of these. So this came twice. 1050, a beautiful purple to kind of cream color variegation. 580, a nice dark kind of fur colored. 11581, a nice dark purple, dark purple. And then 10840, another dark green foresty color, variegated. So those are, and I get the 20-yard skeins. Yeah. So the nest egg program, I don't know if it's still open, but because I know she closed at least parts of it because of the problems with getting things from dyers. Just not problems, but it's slow, and shipping and everything has been kind of difficult, and so she's just doesn't want to continue to do it when it's taking too long to get it out to people. So I know she had closed at least some of them. I don't know if it's currently, I know I'm in it and I continue to pay my invoices, so I keep getting more stuff, but that's about it. And I did pick Threadworks because it's a nice cotton color, and it was nice to work with. I've worked with it. I enjoy working with it, and they've got it's a wide variety of different colors and different variegations, so I thought it would be fun to build up my stash of this type of floss, so that I can have a good idea. And they're 20-yard skeins, so you get a good chunk. If you want to just throw it in something, that's plenty to do that. If you want to put it on a big project, you can get a few more and you can go there and I have it and I can see it versus trying to like gauge it, from the pictures on the internet. I also got my fabric of the month from Be Stitch Me for February, and this is Sand Dollar, which is the neutral color for this month, which is a nice kind of sand dollar, color. nice sandy cream. And this is 32 count Jobelin, which is my now go-to from her. And I just really enjoy stitching on it. I don't pull my stitches too tight, like some people that I've seen that don't like Jobelin, they do pull their stitches tight, and I think that's why they don't like it. They've said that, and so I didn't want, but I don't seem to have that. I enjoy it pretty much. So, and I get good coverage on it, and it glides a little bit easier than the Lugana. I still like Lugana, and I still will stitch on it. I still stitch on it as well, but I've been enjoying it. And then the other color is this beautiful purple called Peony, purple blue fabric. Yeah. So here's that, and yeah. Let's see. I did get a couple other pieces of fabric from her. In the Friday night fight night, there was one this Friday. I did not remember and didn't participate in it, but I did order some fabric from her. I ordered some more toast of the, which is the what Forest of Sumatra is on. But 2 weeks ago she did one, and I was in that one, and she released this new color called Valkyrie, which is on the website. I did see it if you want to order some from her. It's a beautiful teal and kind of gray, pinky color. It looks a lot like her Earth, but maybe darker or more like, I don't know. I really liked it, so I bought this piece of 32 count Jobelin, and then I also got a piece of Verdal, which is the 40 count even weave from Swigert, and so that's this one. Oh, come on. There we go. So you can see it's a nice, beautiful color. And yeah, I really do. I have a few pieces of Verdal. I'm doing all the elemental dragons in it, and then I've got a few other things, and then some in stash, but not a huge amount. So I kind of wanted to add this. I may actually sub this in for one of the dragons, but if I don't, then it'll still be in stash. And then I'm part of Tracy Horner, who's Ink Circles, her Patreon, and sometimes she sends out some things. And she sent something out at the end of the year, or at the beginning of the year, with a nice little colorful sticker, some little tags with her mandalas on it, and a nice little card. So she sent out some floss one time and a couple other things, so she's just very good to her patrons on Patreon. And that's pretty much it for the Flosstube section. So I'm going to talk about some books now. Which I haven't done in a while, but I wanted to kind of, I've been reading quite a bit. I kind of fell down, so let's start with Bridgerton. I started watching Bridgerton over Christmas break when it came out, loved it, enjoyed it, everything, and then found out it was a book series and was like, oh, maybe I'll try that. And I got the first book, listened to it because I pretty much do audiobooks for the most part on them, on books that I read, and realized, oh, this is a romance book. This is like a really, the show was kind of steamy, and I thought, I didn't recognize that they tamed down the book to do the show, or well, maybe not. There's some similarities, but it's also a little different when you hear it described in the book format of, there's thrusting and stuff that's just, it's a different element. And not that I do like romance, but hetero romance is not my go-to, obviously. But if it's the right kind of story, I don't I still like the overall story or something that it's not something that, but if that's the purpose of the book, or there's not something else to it, like, paranormal side of it, then it's not as, it doesn't hold my interest as much. So I did read the first one and talked about it with a few people, and then was like, I'm not going to get the second one. I love the show. I've watched it 1.5 times. I'm rewatching it with my boyfriend, and he hasn't finished it, and so we're kind of watching it together. And it, I still love the show, and I will watch it again and watch further seasons. But I don't know that the book series is what I want to continue with. It's really good, though. If you like romance, it's definitely one I would suggest. There is some part of it, so Julie kind of talked about this when she read it. If you've seen the show, the whole, I think they did it better in the show, and in the book, it really is kind of, it's one of those things where in today's world, it wasn't okay when it was in there, but I don't think it made as big of an impact, and we have a better maybe awareness of the importance of consent, and at least like what it should be. So there's definitely a part of it that's kind of like, that's not, which to be honest, I didn't even really catch it. I mean, I know what happened, but it took Julie saying, "What about this?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's wrong." Like, I mean, I had already decided I don't think this is the series for me, but it's, I think, but I had watched the show first, and so I didn't pick up how different it was in the book and why it was worse in the book initially, because I was kind of referencing back to the show version of it. And I think the way they do it in the show is not, it's still a bad look for Daphne, and Daphne still did something she shouldn't have, but to me it wasn't as reprehensible, I guess, as what is the version in the book. And this is kind of really vague, and I'm trying to not spoil it. It's also, so anyway, but yeah, it was not my favorite series. The writing was well done, and there's a lot of parts to it, and I will say that it seems like they have pulled parts of the other books into the first season, or at least some elements, because the first book is much more focused on Daphne and the Duke and Simon than really the first season of the show is. So I feel like there's some other elements, and maybe the other ones, each of them kind of focuses on one sibling. So the first one is Daphne, and the second one is Anthony, and maybe those would, I might give it another try at some point, but at this point it was not the book for me. But that kind of I got onto this romance kick, sort of. So I had decided not to do that, and then I pulled up a book that I had already bought last year from a booktuber's recommendation, and I had already had it, so I started it not realizing, it's also a romance book, but it's a paranormal one, and so I did. There's several, I think there's 5 books in the series, and I've read the first 2, so I will show you pictures of those. So this is, first one, Soulless, and it's by Gail Carriger. And then the second one is called, where is it? Changeless. And, come on. This is it. It's set in Victorian England, in a more of a steampunk world. Also, it's paranormal because the vampires, ghosts, and werewolves all exist and are open parts of society, at least in England. I mean, they exist everywhere, but in England, where this is mostly set, you know, there are vampire lords, there are werewolf lords, they kind of have this whole thing. And then the main character, Isabel, I think, oh, I may have forgotten her name, but she is it's called a preternatural, or a soulless. And so what, she is human, and if she touches a vampire or a werewolf, then they revert back to human form and not in their supernatural state. And so, you know, they just, that's what they do. But the way it works is, so that's kind of what she is. So she's, and her kind is very different. She also, like, she could dispel, she could, I guess, exorcise ghosts if there's a way for her to do that as well. But she kind of gets involved into this mystery and figures it out, and kind of gets involved with some different vampires and some werewolves, and you know, it just kind of goes from there. It's pretty interesting. I did enjoy it, and I read the first 2 books, like I said, but it definitely is romancy, and I just moved on to some other things. I think I haven't bought the others in the series. I may go back and get them. There's a few others. I think there's 3 more, and then there's like another trilogy or something that's related that I might look at as well. But I did get, that led me to, well, actually Julie recommended the next book that the next series that I worked on, which is starts with Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, and then the second book is Wayward Sun, in the same series. And this is romance isn't really, there's a romance storyline, but that's not really the main point of it. I mean, I guess that it's there, but anyway, the main character, Simon, and Baz, it's kind of like a version of Harry Potter. At least the first book is. It's kind of, I guess it would be kind of set in their final year at school, and Simon is the chosen one that's been prophesized, and Baz is his roommate and kind of school nemesis, but secretly they like each other, or along those lines. And then there's overarching stuff, you know, fighting going on between the different factions of the wizards, people wanting to be more traditionalist and more progressive, or I don't know, there's a lot of differences to them, but it's a nice book. I really enjoyed it. And then the follow-up to that is Wayward Sun, which Baz and Simon travel to America with their friend, oh my god, what's her name? They go to visit Agatha, which was Simon's ex-girlfriend, but her friend Penelope? Penny. Yeah. Penny. So the 3 of them go to America, and they have this whole journey across the states. They're going to see Agatha in California, but they are going to stop and see Penelope's fiance or boyfriend or something in Chicago, and don't realize how far apart those things are and how long it will take them to get from one point to the other, because you know, America's pretty big, and a place like England just geographically don't have that large of a space in between different parts of them. So yeah, it was an interesting book. It was really nice. I really enjoyed it. Had some great. It's a really pretty. It's a really nice story. And then there's a third one that's coming out soon, and I'm excited for that one as well. I like their storyline. It's not really like romancy though. I mean, there is a romance story to it, or a storyline element, but it's not. I wouldn't say that that's like the main point of it in the characterization. And then okay, so the next book that I got, this was well. This is not in the order, but I'm going to talk about this one next. So It Takes Two to Tumble is the name of this one. And this is a gay romance set in... I don't know that it's not Victorian. It's sometime in the 17 or 1800s. I don't know when. But it was a very... It was a nice story. It's about a guy that is he's a captain in the Navy, and he comes home while his ship is being refitted or serviced or something, and his wife has died, and he's trying to look after his children and figure out what's going on in his household, and he meets the vicar of their area who's been helping to care for the kids and to school them, and they have a romance. It is more romancy. I mean, there's a lot of descriptions of things, and it's kind of like Bridgerton in the series in the sense of the time period. It's maybe not quite the same time period, but it has that, historical element to it. I liked it. There's a couple others by the same author. I haven't checked those out yet. But yeah, it was pretty good. And then the next one was really one of my favorites. And this one was recommended to me by Kate Stitchy Aardvark. She sent this to me. She thought I might like it. It's called Red, White, and Royal Blue. And I guess this came out a couple years ago. It had won a lot of things in 2019. And this is by Casey McQuiston. And this was her first book, I think. And it's amazing. It's a great romance book. It's gay. The basic premise is you have the first son of the United States and a prince of England, and they get together. And there's a lot of things... So it's a fake British royal family and a fake American presidential family, political family. There's a few references to actual politicians and historical as in like Obama's, the Bushes and the Clintons and things, or things in history. But there's not like, it's not like this is Joe Biden's son or Donald Trump's son or anything along those lines. It's kind of like the 2016 election happened differently, because it's not Hillary, it's another woman that won in 2016 in this story, and she was a Democrat from Texas, and she has two kids, and one of them is Alex, and he is falls in love with a prince, essentially. And it's not like William or Harry or anything along those lines. It's like a whole different version of a royal family. Like the Henry is the name of the prince, and his father, his mother is the princess, is the daughter of the queen, that is the heir essentially, and and then on the other side, you have his father was an actor and actually played James Bond for a period of time. So it's like, yeah, that's not the royal family in any way. But it's really interesting. I really like it. There's a great banter between them and different characters in it. I really enjoyed it, and the narrator is really good as well. Like one of the things, so like there's text message conversations because it's modern day, and Alex nicknames Henry and his phone because of course they don't start off falling in love. These stories go. He names him HRH, His Royal Highness Prince Dickhead Poop Emoji. And so, but the way the narrator says it every time, HRH Prince Dickhead Poop Emoji. And so it's funny. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I thought it was a really good book. I'm actually in the middle of listening to it again the second time. Which I do re-listen to things, but that's not something I do often or all the time unless it's something I really like. So I really do enjoy it, and I think there's going to be another one. And it is a good, it's a good book. So yeah. And another, I don't even know what that is, dog. Okay. Oh, that's the other thing. Okay, so after that, I have another one. And this is Boyfriend Material is the name of the book, and it's by Alexis Hall. And Alexis has written a few other books as well. And this is another romance, or kind of more of a rom-com. There's not a whole lot of sex scenes, or... there are, but it's not the same thing. And so the premise of this one is you have two main characters. One of them, he is a British lawyer and from upper class family, and he's not been lucky in love, and he needs a boyfriend to go with him to his parents' birthday party or his mother's birthday party or something, or anniversary party, I think, in a few months. And then the other character, who's kind of the main character, I guess, Luke, he is, his parents were famous rock stars in the 70s and 80s, and he is fame adjacent enough that he does sometimes get stories written about him, but not really a big portion. He's not famous, but he's a child of famous people. And his parents are divorced, and he has no relationship really with his father. He's raised by his mother. His father walked out on them, I guess, when he was about 3. And his mother is a French-Irish woman. She was raised in France and has a French accent in here, but her father was Irish, so but it's really cute and quirky, and there's a lot of funny banter between the characters, and just kind of ridiculousness in some of the characters, but in a charming way. It doesn't kind of come across as that's not possible. It is not possible, but it was really cute. I really enjoyed it. But so Luke works for a nonprofit, and he gets in trouble with the paparazzi again. There's a story about him a few years ago, and so they kind of follow him sometimes, and he is coming out of a club, and he trips and falls, and then they make something about him being drunk again and all this stuff. But his job at the foundation is he is part of the person that coordinates donors and puts on their gala every year, and kind of is receiving money from people. And so the foundation starts to lose money and lose donors because of his reputation. So his boss, and so this foundation is for the research and preservation of the dung beetle, and the effects of climate change on the dung beetle, which is kind of kooky. And the way, I don't remember what the actual acronym is, but it spells out crap, or when you say it, it would sound like crap. which is kind of appropriate for the dung beetle. But it's a it's just kind of kooky and fun, and they so he needs a boyfriend to kind of rehash his image and to show him as respectable and not just a party guy that is, you know, blowing away people's money down the drain or into his nose, as you know, some of the or he'll lose his job is kind of the impetus of this. And he has a friend, and I feel like Oliver's the lawyer, and Oliver, they have a mutual friend who's like, why don't you two, you know, this would be good for both of you, pretend to be fake boyfriends. And so then they're fake boyfriends, they're like, and it goes from there. But yeah, it was a real cute book. I enjoyed it a lot. Their banter, not just between each other, which is cute, but also with the other characters in the story is really nice. So I liked that as well. That's a good book. And then, okay, 2 more series. The first one is this is by Mackenzie Lee, and the first book is called A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. Nope, come on. So that's that one. And then there's a novella that comes next called A Gentleman's Guide to Getting Lucky, which is that one. And then, which is just a shorter, it takes place between the two. And then A Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy. Oh, come on. So these books are about these 2 British noble children, Henry and Felicity Montague. Henry, he doesn't go by Henry, he goes by Monty. And then his sister is Felicity, and they have a friend, Percy, who is, Henry's he's friends with both of them, but Percy's from another noble family, but his father was like the second son and had went to the Caribbean, had a child with a woman, Percy's half black, and came back to England, and then his family helped raise Percy. But he's not like, there are complications for him in high society because of the color of his skin, understandably. And Monty has complications because he is bisexual, and his father does not want him sleeping with men anymore. And he was thrown out of Eton because of his carrying on with other men. And then Felicity is his younger sister, who is very smart and very knowledge hungry. She's also very not interested in anything to do with sex. She is asexual. I mean, they don't call it that, but that is kind of her. They talked about that. So the book and the novella are from Monty's point of view, and then Felicity is the main character in the second book. And then there will be a third book. They have another sibling, which is much younger than them, and who doesn't really have a role in much of these, and it'll take place later in time. And that one's coming out this year as well. But so the kind of the impetus of all this is they are going on Percy and Monty are going on their European tour, which for British young men was to, tour around France, Italy, lots of parts around the continent, and, learn from all that cultural history and everything. And things happen there. It turns into this, kind of harrowing adventure, and they, what are they going to do now? And kind of Monty's been told he can't, if he doesn't settle down, he shouldn't come back at all. And Percy is going off to somewhere else after this tour anyway and won't see them again either. And Felicity is going to be taken to a finishing school, which is not the kind of school she actually wants to go to. She doesn't want to learn about manners and etiquette and all of these things, but she would rather be learning about science and different subject matters. And it's, for the most part, like, there are some kind of supernatural elements to it. Not a lot, but there is some elements to it that's a little different than real life. But yeah, it's an interesting book series. I enjoyed it. They, at the beginning, they don't really, well, Percy and Henry like each other, Percy and Monty. Percy and Felicity like each other, but the siblings do not really get along. And so it's an interesting book and series. And then Felicity's book is more about her. She wants to be a doctor, and her efforts to get into medical school are stalling out, and she's trying to find different things and trying to get into that. And she ends up getting into an adventure with one of her friends that she had kind of fallen out with a few years before the whole tour and everything. So yeah, both of them very well done. I enjoyed that a lot. Looking forward to the new one. And then, okay, this is the last series that I'm going to talk about. This is not a romance book. This is like a paranormal story, but there is, like, the main character's gay, and, well, at least I don't know that he's gay, but he definitely sleeps with men. He may be bi. But this is called The Last Sun by K.D. Edwards, and then the second book is called The Hanged Man. And there's only 2 of them out so far. I don't want to rate. I don't think it's just going to be a trilogy. I mean, they've set up a lot of things to finish off in one book. I hope it's not just a trilogy, but this is The Hanged Man. So this is a world that is it's in like modern day times, but it's a urban fantasy or an alternative history something. There's magic and everything, but the main character, Rune St. John, he is from New Atlantis. In the history of this series, Atlantis is real, never was sunk, but was a hidden island in the middle of the Atlantic, kind of like parallel to Massachusetts, but just kind of further out. And they maintained their secrecy for years through the use of magic and lots of things, but they had interactions with other parts of the world, other cultures. The Atlanteans did. The Atlanteans are magic users, and they are very long-lived, and they have the ability to regenerate themselves to a younger lifetime and relive an extended period over that. In the story of this world, when satellites start to come about and rockets are used to take pictures of the Earth, the Atlanteans realize that their time to remain secret is coming to an end. And so they decide to reveal themselves to the world, and then as it comes out, all the things that they have been involved with, and over the years and everything ended up being real. The world was not super happy about the Atlanteans, and then there is a war between Atlantis and the world. It's called the Atlantean World War. Huge parts of the world, or big chunks of the world, are uninhabitable. Atlantis itself is no longer inhabitable, and the Atlanteans lose. Now, the Atlantean structure of their government, at one point they have an emperor or a king, and an empress or queen. I don't remember the names. They have those, but the emperor is dead, and the queen has left and doesn't want anything to do with it anymore. And then, but aside from them, there are courts, heads of giant houses, which follow the tarot cards. Actually, the way they explain it in the series is that tarot actually is influenced by them. They were there first. There are different courts and there are groups of people. The main character, Rune St. John, is the son of the Sun Lord and the head of the Sun Court. When he's younger, the Sun Court is destroyed by something. He's not really sure what. He wasn't there when most of it was happening. He kind of came home during it, and then he was assaulted. There were things that happened to him, but he was able to escape and survive. But most of his father's court did not, and he is taken in by one of his father's friends, the Lord Tower, I think is the head of the Dagger Throne. Some of the names, the Lord and then the throne is not always the same. They're kind of related, but I haven't studied it long enough to know which is which. But anyway, he was about 15 when the Sun Court fell, and then he's raised to adulthood. Present day, he's kind of like a mercenary, detective kind of character. One of the reviews that I saw of this compared him a lot to Harry Dresden, but a gay one, and I think that's kind of correct. I mean, he's not as, there's differences, but yeah, he's not super well off, but he's not struggling. I mean, he's struggling, but he's getting by. And so the start of the book kind of happens where he is participating in a raid of the Heart Throne. Lady Lovers is the head of the Heart Court, and they have gone kind of crazy, and the other Atlantean courts have all decided, or a majority of them have authorized a raid of the Heart Throne, meaning they are going to take their property, take their stuff, and kill members of them because they've gone too far and they need to be dealt with. It's kind of like the main aspect of it. And he finds her during the raid, and she convinces him to do a favor for her in exchange for a prize, and it ends up being that his goal, she wants him to take a package and deliver it to a particular place. It ends up being that the package is her grandson, and the place is his 21st birthday, and he's 17, and so to reach adulthood. So that kind of adds this whole other wrinkle to it. And then that's kind of the very intro to it. And then he's doing additional jobs. He gets hired by Lord Tower to find another missing nobleman, Adam of the Crusader Throne, who his mother is Lady Justice, and Adam is the second oldest child of that group, and Rune is trying to find him. Now, Rune also has Bran is his companion, which not all Atlanteans have these, but several of the nobles do. It's like when an Atlantean child is born, they can take a human child and put them together and create a bond between them that allows them to they have an emotional bond where they can feel each other's, at least the companion can feel the Atlanteans' emotions and things. I don't know if it works the other way. And then he can also when the Atlantean rejuvenates, the companion rejuvenates as well. So they will be much longer lived, and there's a lot to it. But the human does not use magic, and Bran is kind of like it's kind of like the warder scenario in the Wheel of Time, for the Aes Sedai. It's kind of along those lines. He's kind of like the warrior. I mean, Rune is also a decent fighter, as well as a magic user. But yeah, so it's a really interesting world and a very interesting book, and I really enjoyed both of them, and I really look forward to see where it goes in the future. But there's just additional things are happening. It's kind of like Dresden in this sense of like, at the start, he's not really this big important person. He's just kind of a guy doing this thing and in this world. And then as the story is moving along, he becomes more and more important, or he like had the potential to do that stuff, and then he did. So that's where that story is going. I really enjoyed it. I liked both of them, and they. It's a really nice story. He does have a relationship with another character in there, not Bran, even though they're companions. Bran is not his. They're not doing that. Some companions do, but not Bran and Rune. And but he, there's another element there. I don't want to spoil the storyline, but yeah, it was a really good series so far, and I look forward to more of them. And yeah, so that I finished that Hanged Man yesterday or Friday. Yeah, maybe Friday. Yeah, Friday night. And so yeah, it was really good. I've read a lot. I've skipped a couple things that I read since the last time I did this, and then there were a couple books that I wasn't a big fan of, and so I didn't really want to talk about them, to just kind of crap on them. So I'm not gonna bring those up as well. But yeah, it was really good. And I guess there's a couple that I didn't talk about, but I want to talk about later when I do this again. So. Anyway, that is where I'm at. As another comparison though, like, if you have read the Mercedes Thompson series, which is another paranormal urban fantasy series, it's by Patricia Briggs. It doesn't start off as like, there's some romance elements to it, but it's kind of later in the books. In the first few, there's not really anything. This series, the Last Sun and the Hanged Man are kind of in that light. There's some elements to it, but it's not a huge amount. So, I mean, I wouldn't call it a romance book, but there's like a storyline there. And yeah, it's definitely a part of it. But yeah, and the narrator's pretty good as well. I liked his different voices he has for the different characters. So it's good in audio form if that's your thing as well. But that's pretty much it. I think that there was more books than there was stitching this time, but that's kind of what it is. So anyway, have a good one. Bye.